Welcome to another episode with your host, Robert E. Hansen, psychic medium, author, and public speaker.
Today we're talking about clairvoyance. Clairvoyance is the term used to refer to clear sight. The word clairvoyance is born out of the French. It's a French expression. It means to see clearly. The word clair being clear, voyeur, or to observe something. In certain circles, voyeurism implies a person who seeks satisfaction through the intimacy of watching others be intimate, or peeking in through a window or something along these lines. I mean, that's where a word voyeur typically is pointing to, but in reality, it's a much wider expression, meaning to see clearly. Clairvoyance simply means to see clearly. Now, in mediumship work, psychic work, some people who work in areas of prediction work, for example, or people who do hands-on healing and various other modes of psychic expression, often will say, well, I'm seeing this, I'm seeing that, I'm seeing this, I'm seeing that. I'm seeing a car crash, I'm seeing someone fall off a roof. You know, these kind of expressions are shared. And sometimes people might say, oh, I'm seeing a man standing at your side, or I can see your future, things like this. So I want to kind of get to the nitty-gritty of all of this and really explain what the heck is going on. In authentic channeling work, in authentic psychic work, what I mean by authentic is it means that it's not stained by another person's opinion of what psychic or spiritual phenomena is. And again, I want to be very respectful to those who work in this craft. I meet people who maintain that they see certain things and they give these things certain impressions and certain identities, right? There are people that maintain in a reading process, for example, that they're seeing pennies, or that they're seeing red-colored birds, or they're seeing lights that are blinking. They refer to these things, and they say that they are seeing them. And I'm not in any way implying that they're not seeing them. Obviously, they're seeing something, and they're sharing it. But when I sit and talk with these people, when I meet them, when I go to workshops, when I run my own workshops, when I interact with a lot of these folks, what they are really telling me is that they're seeing things that they have seen elsewhere before. Oh, I've seen them in books, I've seen these images, I've seen them on other psychic sites, and so on and so on and so on. So what they are really referring to is a form of memory. They have received it elsewhere. They have been willing to accept it as authentic, and if that's for them, that's fine, if they believe it's authentic, and they maintain during a particular session or during a particular experience that they see it. And I'm not questioning that they see it. I'm sure they do see it. However, what they really are seeing is the mirror of memory. Someone has put this idea, whether it be in a book they've read or a person they've talked to, or perhaps in a talk like this. Someone has maintained or got them believing and thinking and convinced that these things that they're seeing are being sent psychically. Now here's where the little bubble comes in, because it's really a big barrier if you buy into that too much. When someone says they have a clairvoyant gift, it means their sight is clear. So if you were to look through an open window, completely open window, no blinds, no shades, no distractions, no deflections, you're looking right through it, the glass itself is completely pristine clean, you're having as clear a view of the outside as you could possibly have. You can see the trees, the birds, the squirrels, and you have no idea, none, of what is about to fly through that window next. It could be rain, it could be a pigeon, it could be a balloon floating by, it could be a kite, it could be anything coming through that window. So when someone has clear sight, and they really are looking clearly, they have no predetermined idea about what they're about to see. They have no idea. Now, in the external world of phenomena, in the human experience of seeing the world, walking down the street, looking at trees, looking at cars passing by, kids playing, dogs walking, we see them, we notice them, we pay attention to them to some degree, but in all cases, What we are seeing, in most cases, we have seen before. We are repeating ourselves over and over again. So when you walk down your local neighborhood, let's say down the street of your local home or something, you know the houses down the block. You've seen them since you're a little person, perhaps. And you say, oh, I know I'm going to be seeing. I'll be seeing this house, I'll be seeing that house, I'll see that neighbor's dog, I'll see the next guy. And when that occurs, two things are at work. Memory is activated and your conditioning is activated. Therefore, you cannot see clearly. What you're seeing is a combination of what is present and what your memory is reminding of what you saw before. So there cannot be a pure sense of clairvoyance. One of the miracles in psychic work, one of the miracles in communication, is that when you're sitting with a clear channel and they know absolutely nothing about you, and they use the term, I am seeing this, and the guest leans forward and says, what are you seeing? And you say, I am seeing a boat flipping over in the harbor. That's what I'm seeing. I'm not a boater. I don't go on the water really once in a while, but I'm not a boater. But that's what I'm seeing. I almost feel like I'm being injected into that scene. And the guest starts to rub their eye and say, well, that's how my brother died. My brother died by his boat flipping over in the harbor, and he drowned, right? So, of course, in the reading process, you would then say to the guest, well, that vision, that image, which I've never seen before, has been sent to me, and it's not just being sent to me as some kind of offset dream that I'm just walking down the street imagining. It's directly connected to the person sitting across from me. So the big word here, the intention of the soul is to access the interpreter or the medium to present clearly through the medium's gift this image of the boat flipped over in the harbor to validate or to prove or to point to the sitting family member that they love, tell them this vision so they will understand that it is truly me. I'm your brother that has died. I'm accessing through the interpreter psychic what happened to me in a visual. We're not talking about sound. We're not talking about feelings right now. We're just talking about the image. And the image comes through like a little mini movie. It's like a micro movie, a 2-second movie, a 3-second movie that shoots through the system. And the next thing you know, the guest is crying or saying, I understand you. Or they could say, you know what, I have no idea what you're talking about. Now, if that occurs, two things are true. One, either they don't realize the situation or know the situation behind the death of that brother figure. Perhaps it's not their brother or brother-in-law, and they don't really know how they died. Or the medium is somehow not making it up on purpose, but somehow there's a fabrication of thinking going on in which the imagination and the idea within the psychic is being utilized, and that's what they're kind of suggesting or presenting to the guest. And it's really not clairvoyance. What it is it's just the activation of memory, it's the activation of fantasy and imagination, and they're moving it in such a way with such passion and commitment that they want you to kind of accept it. And I'm not telling you not to do that. You do what you like with these guys, but I'm just telling you that true clairvoyance does not enter that way. Clairvoyance must come through a clear door where there is no preconceived, no preconditioned, no pre-taught ideas. So when the inner window slides open, when the awe of this communication takes place, and it is unbelievable, no question, it's unbelievable. When this communication takes place, the souls that are having this contact for the guest via the medium are counting on the medium to have clear sight, to really see clearly what they are trying to show and what they're trying to share. That's what they're really doing. They're trying to show clearly what they're trying to share, what they're trying to show, and they're coming across clear after clear after clear. And if it's interpreted properly, right, to say that I'm seeing something and not being able to explain what I'm seeing doesn't do much for the guest, right? It doesn't really do much for the guest. They say, I'm seeing this crazy scene, but I have no idea what the hell it means, right? They have no idea. I'm seeing, a stop sign upside down or something. And the guest says, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. Either do I, but that's what I'm seeing. That is not clairvoyance. That is a form of imagination gone wild, and somehow it's flipping out as an image in the head of that guest, or that, I'm sorry, not the guest, but of the reader, whoever's doing this work, right? So when someone is seeing clearly, when people have gifts of clairvoyance, and there are others out there that have it completely, they're very good with it. They will look at something, it'll be received through them. Now, when they're seeing it, they're not seeing it with their visual eyes, right? I'm not seeing this image of someone flipped over a boat in a boating accident on the harbor externally, like I'm looking at a tree down the street. I'm not seeing it like that, and people don't. They see it internally through the same inner eye that you see your dreams. It's the same inner eye that you can look and close your eyes and open your eyes and say, I can see my dad's face, I can see my mother. I can see it, I can see it. That's memory, but you can see it. And when you see it inside your mind's eye, right? This is where clairvoyance is absolutely at its highest. It comes through the crown, through the top of the head, right? It comes through the crown, through the top of the head, and what we call the third eye, or the chakra right up here, this area is often referred to as the eye that sees, right? It's the clairvoyant eye. In some cultures, that's the way they express it. I personally don't do that, but for those of you that perhaps have that reference, I'd like to just comment about it. So there is this sense of seeing clearly beyond visual eyesight, beyond the imagination. And this, my friends, is clairvoyant. So if you have the clairvoyant gift, if you're developing a clairvoyant gift, if it's beginning to blossom and take flower within you, I encourage you deeply to learn to separate your imagination, what you want to see, what you want to think you should be seeing, what you'd like the guests to believe you're seeing, and kind of step off of that. And be willing to sit there in complete quiet calmness and really allow this inner eye to open widely, and really allow the souls to come through you and present to you these extraordinary images that they will send for one purpose. And the purpose of that is that they trust you, the sitting psychic, the clairvoyant personality, the one who is developing their clairvoyance, to see it clearly so it can bring guidance and healing to one who suffers. Is why we do this work. That, my friends, is authentic clairvoyance.